Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's different times and different places. I'm excited. I'm excited to connect with you. Thank you so much for expressing interest in my self-publishing course. Yay! Welcome, welcome, welcome. The reason you're receiving this video is because I wanted to introduce myself officially to you if you don't know me or not connected to me. And if you are, I want to reintroduce myself to you. I'm excited for you as we go along on this journey of self-publishing. First of all, it is a beautiful day out here. Do you agree? I thought this would be an awesome place to connect with you, and hopefully if you're having a stressful day, take a deep breath, enter into this just beautiful space with me. I definitely am excited about the self-publishing course that is launching on April 6th, 2020. Are you excited, ladies? Y'all have to get excited, gentlemen. I'm excited to be able to package this tool for you. So I wanted to, first of all, tell you a little bit about my publishing journey so you can understand how I can partner with you to get your story out there, or your tool, or whatever your vision is for your book. First of all, writing for me started as something as an outlet. When I was honestly a teenager, it was a place that I can escape and go into and share what I was feeling in that moment. And honestly, it was a place where God could speak to me and tell me and encourage me that I'm moving forward, that I won't be in the place that I won't stay in the place that I currently was at that moment in my life. And it was a place just like it honestly, it's a love for me, just like singing is. It's an awesome opportunity to translate what you're feeling, your emotions, and also a good place to encourage, to educate others. So I'm not sure what your vision is, and for some of you, you're creating tools to educate people about the area that you're an expert on. Some of you are wanting to tell stories. You're a storyteller. You want to be able to bring people along in a journey. And some of you may be wanting to create a devotional or a book to tell your story, or just a devotional to connect people to the Word of God. Some of you may be looking at publishing some crime novels. I'm like, I love suspense and different things like that. Whatever it is, I believe this course would be a great tool for you to be able to get to the point of being able to produce your books at a cost-effective method and way. So my first book, Women Arise, I'll show you my first book, Women Arise. I published this book roughly in the year of 2014. I always have to check myself because I've published 4 books. 2014, and actually I had wrote this book sporadically throughout the year, and I started digging into publishing companies, what my options were, what were the pros and cons from going through a traditional publisher versus a self-publishing company. Didn't really know that, I don't believe that there were any tools to do it myself at that time, but there's so many out there. And if you have already dived into this journey, you know and understand that there's so many publishing companies, and it's hard to even choose. And for me, I wanted a publishing company that had a Christian voice, because that's the foundation in how I write, and the audience that I'm writing to. And for those that may be on this journey of faith, I'm trying to encourage those women to move forward. So I did pick a publisher, and actually 2 of my books, my I Believe You Little One book and my Woman Arise book, are actually being the printer and all of that is coming through a publishing company specifically. And these 2 books, Renewed, which I published in 2015, and Passionately, my most recent one that I published during going through nursing school, Passionately Pursued by Love, was also self-published by me. So these 2 books I self-published on my own. And honestly, I believe that, unless something, interesting happens, I will probably self-publish every single one of my books that I plan to write. Women Arise specifically, since it was the first book, and for some of you are going to be first-time authors, published authors, I wanted to share a little bit about that journey for me. As I told you, I wrote throughout the years after, as a teenager, I went to school, and I remember a teacher telling me, "You're going to publish a book one day. You're a good writer." And I think we had a writing contest or something in that source. And honestly, at that time in my life, I didn't perceive myself very well. I came from a very broken past, so I didn't believe her. I was just like, whatever. I kind of rolled my eyes, and oh, there's a butterfly out here. Sorry. I didn't believe her. I didn't buy into it. But the other part of that, though, I knew that Woman Arise. I knew the title of this book. I knew that this would be my first book published, and it's something that had been in my heart for a long time. And I broke the book up into three parts: arising out of your past, arising into intimacy with God, and number three, arising into your purpose. I think those are the three components of a woman's journey, that a lot of times we have to arise out of our past, right? We can't move forward. We find ourselves stuck in different places, and we're hindered because we haven't fully recovered and healed from our past. And then the second part of arising into intimacy with God, this is my journey, that my relationship with God definitely was the source of that healing and strength to be able to move forward into a future that's brighter than what I had came from, and then arising into your purpose. So even though this book is geared to women, I have men who have read the book and have gleaned from it, because honestly what I talk about, it fits for all, but my heart goes out to women first, right? Because I'm a woman and I get it, I can speak that language. But I've had men who said, man, this book is amazing because I've been through this, and this. So for you men out there that's also wanting to self-publish, we all have a purpose. That's the ending part of that book, is arising into your purpose. We all are here for a reason and a purpose. And part of it may be publishing a book. If you express interest, then that means there's something in you that feels like there's a story that you need to tell, like I said, an educational resource, whatever it may be. You feel like you have something to give, and I want to encourage you to know that you do. There is something inside of you that we need to glean from and understand, and there's an audience specific to the genre of book that you're gonna write. And for me, getting that first book out, I didn't go to traditional publishing, right? I didn't submit my manuscript to a traditional publisher because I honestly didn't want to be rejected. I was just like, I know that this is the time. I felt God say, now is the time for this book to be out. And honestly, for weekends, I would do nursing schedule, overnight shifts every weekend. And I wrote. It was time in that writing, that creativity flowed freely. And someone always asked me, well, how long do you think it took you to write the book? Once I was in the season for it, I would say 6 to 9 months to the full publishing process and producing that full book. It didn't take me no time, y'all. Like, to me, every weekend I was writing, and I found myself engulfed in the content and the words and how I wanted to translate that to the women that would read my book. And the publishing company that I used, I would say, did a great job. I have no complaints in regards to that. But now that I'm where I'm at now, looking back, if I had the tools that I'm looking to give you, I would have self-published that book on my own without going through a self-publishing company. So there's three type of companies, I would say, or ways you can publish your book. You have the traditional, which a lot of big name people have the opportunity to get their books picked up by a traditional publisher, TD Jakes, all these different people that we even know. I can name a whole bunch of them. You get it. They're willing to pick up those books and pay that author to produce their books, and they do a lot of marketing. But again, and this is also an opportunity. Let me just say this though. There is an opportunity for your book to be picked up by a traditional publisher. Sometimes what they do is they will scout your book. They will look at sales, they will look at comments. So it's important for you, when you do publish your book, that you ask your readers to go in and put a comment on the places that they're buying your book. And they will call you and reach out to you. And specifically for Woman Arise, I've gotten different calls, but I'm very specific in what I need and what I want and what I desire for that book. So I haven't jumped on anything. But the title and the content is what I always hear people say. This is catchy. I feel like this can go here and there. So just know that that's an opportunity, and it does happen to self-publishing authors. So you have your traditional publisher, who again is going to pay you for that book, and again you would submit your manuscript to them, and you have the opportunity possibly to being picked up, but you also have the opportunity of that manuscript being rejected. And I've heard that a lot. And why I didn't go that route is because at the time I didn't need that. Like, I didn't want someone to tell me, oh, this is not good, or this is not a good fit for our publishing company. I was already struggling with my own self-doubt. I'm sure you understand that, right? You have to get over that hurdle of, your own mind, and you know, and sometimes we are fearful of what others people may think or feel. And I had crossed that hurdle, and I was crossing that hurdle, and one of the reasons why I didn't tell people I was writing the first book was because I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear the feedback. I wanted to be obedient to the call that I had and felt at that time, which was to produce that book, and I knew that it would impact people's lives. And one story that is coming to my mind right now is I went to an event in Detroit, and me and this lady now she's a beautiful woman. She's a great friend of mine. But I did a book signing event, and in the home of one of my friend's friend. And she came up to me and she said, you know, your book is on my coffee table, like my it's called something else now, I can't think of it, but it's right next to my bed. And I looked at her and I said, really? And she's like, yeah. She said, I read it every night, and honestly, if I didn't read your book, I would have committed suicide long ago. I bawled. Like, I cried. It's Louisiana, like I bawled, but meaning I just teared. My tears began to flow, and I immediately embraced her, and she me. And, you know, it's those moments that I realized that obedience is so much better than allowing your fears, your thoughts, any criticisms you think you may receive or have received to produce your story or whatever you're producing. Is so much more valuable when you understand that there's an audience that needs that. They need it. They need it. They need it. And I won't be able to come across every reader. I've gotten honestly orders for 500 books and different things like that. So I won't be able to meet all these people. But every so often, God gives me a glimpse. He gives me a glimpse of the impact that I'm making without even having to be there physically. And that's what your book and your resource will do. It will reach people that you will not be able to at the moment, maybe someday, but be able to reach people that you will not, you may not currently have the opportunity to physically connect. So I definitely encourage you to tell your story, to put it out there. And I do believe that I can be key to your journey because I've been in this publishing world since 2014, and I've learned a lot of things, and I will continue to self-publish. You know, one of the questions I got was, you know, would you the books that you plan on publishing, would you do it again this way? Yes. Let me give you an example, cost-effective wise, because I think that's important too. When I'm a mom of two, and I have an awesome husband, but I have two kids that are always in my pocket. They're always asking me for something. And honestly, even though I could probably pay a self-publishing company, which you would be paying them a lump sum, lump sum, that sounds a lot, but a good bit of money to produce your book and edit your book. And sometimes they nickel and dime you a little bit on the editing and da-da-da-da. It can cost you at least, I would say, $1,200 to up to, depending on a lot of them will have brackets. When you go on the self-publishing site, you will see like, oh, silver, gold, platinum, you know, and they have them called different things, you know. You can pay up to $5,000 to get your book published because of the different resources they may offer you, like a website and different things in that nature. But honestly, what I found with the two publishing companies that I do have two of my books with, is I still have to market myself. I still have to market my book. I still have to position myself in a place where my story is being, you know, shared, and I'm getting new readers on board. So to me, there's like, I could do this on my own. I'm just saying, like, I could save a whole bunch of money. So roughly I paid maybe $1,200 roughly for my first book, and even roughly about the same for for I Believe You Little One. And actually this one was through a traditional publisher who actually went out of business. Yes, it happened, and I was stunned. You know, I'm happy that they sent out communication. Somehow I don't even remember how I got word that they were going out of business, but I was happy that I did. And the publishing company that I use now was picking up those authors' books at a very low cost. So immediately I did that, you know, to get this book, because it's so colorful. For those of you who have already seen the book, but I just want to give you a glimpse. Like, it's so well done. that I was like, yes, and this is one of my next, like my second bestsellers, because when children love it, the parents love it, but they went out of business. So, hello, a traditional publisher went out of business. So I've been on it. I've been on this journey for a little while, and I understand it. So I definitely would self-publish. So cost effective. Going back to that moment, my book, Passionately Pursued by Love, for instance. Now I told you, Woman to Rise cost me roughly about $1,200 to get it out there, right? Passionately Pursued by Love cost me 1200 to 400. How much, girl? How much money did I save? Yes, exactly. And the cost went to the cover. I mean, which is very important, right? And if you see like the words in the book, the formatting, I did have a lady um, that formatted it, like, made the words fancy for me. Just, she did a lot of just structuring of these designs, and I loved it. It just gave the book a little bit more finesse. That's something I'm sure that some of you might have the skill to do, but I paid her to do that because I didn't have the time, nor did I want to do it. And I used the same. I've been using a graphic design artist to do my website. She did my website for, later on I redid it. So again, some of the things that they're offering you, you can do it yourself. You just have to know the right people, the quality of their work, so that you can have that website produced, have that book cover. But for instance, for Renewed, I did Renewed. This book is a workbook for women based on a one-on-one coaching session that I did, and I have a few of them, one-on-one coaches that I wanted to put in paper form. And for this book, I have questions, if you see, where the women can go in and answer, because we did some Q&A. I like to have women dig deeper, so that they can identify why they are where they are. Honestly, I paid no more than $50 to get this book. The cover, like for instance, my friend did the editing, so I didn't have to pay an editor for this one specifically, and I self-published this on my own. So the resource that I use for that, I'm going to be sharing with you. I'm going to be sharing with you the key components that you need for your book, permissions to protect your book legally, and make sure that you're not overstepping any boundaries when you're using and quotes and different things of that nature. But I'm excited. I'm excited to finally offer this resource. I've met with so many of you over the phone, for coffee. Like the past few weeks, I've met with people, and the first thing they're like, well, tell me about those books. How did you write those books? And I'm like, you know what? I need to do something with this knowledge. I have it in my house. I'm working on another project, and I'm just scanning out an Illustrator. And I'm excited for this next book that's going to be produced, and I'm going to self-publish it, and I'm going to be able to give you the tools on how to do that. So I just wanted to introduce myself formally, and I wanted to encourage you to tell your story. I want you to feel like you understand the importance of that, and that's why I shared the story of the lady, and with I Believe You Little One. I've gotten so many messages, and I'm like, please go online and put it on Amazon, put it, and put it there so people can see what your child is experiencing when they read the book. From people saying that their child felt like they couldn't read because they're having some difficulty. This book is real simple, and it's an easy read, and it's a good confidence builder for a kid. I had one lady gave it to a post office lady that worked there, and she read it to one of her brother who had autism, and she noticed that he was more engaged because of the colors of the book. And so stuff like that just blows me away, y'all. Like, I can cry all day by the stories that I do get, and I don't publicize them. Maybe I don't know if that's a good or bad. It's just me trying to stay humble, but I want to share with you that I'm sharing this with you because I want you to realize that there's individuals that need what you have. And my course will get you really a big step further. I mean, the writing is on you, right? We're not going to write during this course. I will maybe have you do some little structuring for those who need help with that. We will have a little assignment to help you get an idea of what that can look like. So the course we won't be writing. We won't be hammering away at a book. I mean, it'll take us a little while to do that. But at the end of it, you will know how to self-publish that book to little to no cost, depending upon what you want in regards to your cover and different things in that nature. And that's a great resource that you can continue to produce your stories or your content over and over and over again once you have it. So this course is invaluable. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for expressing interest. Thank you for allowing me to take 20 minutes of your day to introduce myself officially and tell you a little bit about my publishing journey. And I hope that you allow me to partner with you on this journey. You have a good one. Bye-bye.